Confidence can get you a long way, but it can also get you in a lot of trouble. Since hawks are rarely challenged, they sometimes get themselves into the hairiest situations thinking that victory is guaranteed. But all they end up doing is embarrassing themselves and getting absolutely wrecked and humiliated, which is exactly what we're about to see today. This lone chicken was pecking at the ground, oblivious to the danger above until a shadow moved across the pen. A hawk had zeroed in, diving with sharp precision. As soon as the predator landed, the chicken flapped in a panic, desperate to get away. Just when things seemed hopeless, the rooster sprang into action. It charged in, feathers bristling, its comb bright in the sunlight as it confronted the hawk. With an impressive burst of courage, the rooster lunged, creating enough commotion to throw the predator off balance. The hawk, startled by the unexpected resistance, quickly took off, abandoning its hunt. The rooster's fearless intervention left the chicken unharmed, and it was probably rewarded for that once the fear and shock had worn off. Chaos erupted when a hawk misjudged an easy meal here, landing near a mother hen and its chicks, but it didn't count on the fierce reaction that it got. The mother hen charged in, kicking up dust and throwing itself into the fight without hesitation, making sure the predator regretted its decision. The hawk tried to gain control, but the hen refused to back down, throwing itself at the predator with unstoppable force. This power struggle, which initially looked uneven, took a shocking turn as the hen overpowered the hawk. The mother hen pecked and clawed at its opponent non-stop, each strike more desperate and determined than the last, until it managed to kill the hawk, turning what began as a dire threat into a dramatic show of courage and sheer maternal instinct. Chickens aren't known for their hospitality, and when a small hawk accidentally ended up in their coop here, things took a wild turn. Every single chicken seemed eager to attack the bird, treating the hawk like it was the only criminal in town. I'm always surprised at the speed and the timing of these chickens. Like, these hawks will be flying in one direction, and the chickens will know the exact timing of where they'll be to snuff them in 1 to 2 seconds. Somehow, though, the hawk managed to wriggle free from the chaos, staggering over to the side of the coop and slumping against the net wall as if it had just completed an Olympic sprint. Surprisingly, the hawk emerged from the ordeal without a single scratch, while the chickens strutted around the coop like they'd just taken down a heavyweight. Hawks never second-guess themselves, but this one probably wished that it had after targeting a hen's chick. It descended from above with its razor-sharp talons extended, fully intent on snatching the chick without a hitch. But the hen wasn't about to let its brood become fast food. It flared its feathers and launched into a furious charge, clucking like a parent hearing bad news at a school conference. The hawk seemed like it wasn't going to last long, but then a man showed up out of nowhere and grabbed it mid-battle to break up the fight. Meanwhile, the hen paraded around, proud and defiant, a true reminder that no one should ever mess with a protective mother, not even one with feathers. Here's a giant hawk that swooped down to snatch a chicken, only to be met by a fearless rooster rushing in to defend its flock. The hawk, fierce and predatory, focused intently on its target, but the rooster wasn't about to let it take one of its own without a fight. Although clearly terrified by the hawk's imposing presence, the brave rooster stood its ground, ruffling its feathers and positioning itself between the hawk and the chicken. The hawk paused, assessing the unexpected challenge. Despite its strength and sharp talons, the hawk seemed hesitant, perhaps wary of the rooster's sudden display of courage and potential resistance. In a surprising turn, the hawk decided that the battle wasn't worth the effort and took to the skies, leaving the rooster triumphant. With wings spread wide, this hawk surveyed the yard below, ready to dive in and find something to eat. Its target, however, was a rooster confidently pacing behind the safety of a metal cage. As if mocking the hungry intruder with each casual strut, Unaware of the barrier at first, the hawk landed with an intense focus, likely expecting the usual struggle to end in its favor, only to discover that today's catch was just out of reach. A few frustrated hops and sharp, judgmental glares followed as it processed the realization that this meal was securely off limits. Eventually, the hawk abandoned its would-be feast, leaping skyward with a final dismissive glance, leaving the smug rooster to carry on with its day untouched. It seemed that while the hawk had courage to spare, it clearly lacked the patience to plan things out. Unfazed, a turkey and a red-tailed hawk got into it here, each tossing intense threats like two schoolyard rivals caught in a standoff. The turkey fluffed up, wings spread wide like it was about to march down a runway, all confidence and boldness on display. In contrast, the hawk perched with the calm assurance of a club bouncer, prepared to decide who stayed and who left. The two opponents locked eyes, each seemingly daring the other to make the first move, or maybe just the first peck. As tension crackled, the camera cut out quicker than your phone battery on a cross-country road trip, and just like that, the showdown faded into legend. Did the turkey pull off an unexpected upset, or did the hawk secure the victory that it seemed so certain of? The truth is lost. But hey, at least both of them put on a show that'll be hard to forget. As soon as hawks spot another creature's offspring around, they always rush to attack them, which is exactly what this red-tailed hawk tried to do, yet it clearly picked the wrong family to mess with. The wild hen turkey had zero intention of letting it get anywhere near its little ones, and when the hawk swooped in, it was ready. With feathers puffed and an attitude fierce enough to rival any linebacker, it charged straight at the hawk, forcing it to rethink its attack. The hawk, now wondering what went wrong, retreated to a nearby tree to reassess its plan. Meanwhile, the turkey got back to its little ones, making sure that they were okay, and making it known to every creature within earshot who truly ran things around there. Her poults huddled close, peering out from behind her nervously. Deciding they weren't worth the hassle, the hawk eventually flew off, conceding defeat. Zooming in like it was on a mission, this hawk had its eyes locked onto its potential meal, an oblivious turkey that was looking for something to eat. This flyby wasn't about to end with an easy meal for the hawk, that's for sure. The mature male turkey, clearly in the heavyweight class, was ready for a fight. Equipped with powerful wings, a sharp beak, and spurs that could put a serious dent in anything that came too close, it wasn't going to go down without a fight. Hawks do, of course, kill and eat turkeys often, but they usually have to work a lot harder than this one. But this one was smart enough not to try anything too crazy, because that turkey looked like a heavyweight, and it was probably going to smash it to a million pieces if it had. Out in an open field, this turkey was peacefully snacking on some grass, minding its own business. Then out of nowhere, a hawk, with all the stealth that it could muster, aimed for its next victim, swooping down very fast and very low. But the turkey jumped to meet it as soon as it sensed it coming, and it let out a gobble loud enough to be heard from miles away. The hawk was caught off guard, halting its attack mid-dive. The turkey, in its prime moment of defiance, had somehow managed to turn the tables. The hawk quickly veered off and took to the sky again, and as for the turkey, it probably simply went back to its snack. Falcons are the masters of speed in the sky, capable at diving at over 200 miles per hour, making them the fastest animals on the planet. With razor-sharp talons, impeccable eyesight, and lethal precision, they're built for high-speed chases and swift kills. But sometimes, even a top predator can meet its match. This one spotted a turkey and decided to go in for the kill, only to end up in a brutal ground battle. The falcon misjudged its target and found itself tangled with a much stronger opponent. The turkey, with its powerful legs and sharp beak, stomped and pecked at the foolish predator with a fierce intensity. The falcon, built for aerial ambushes, struggled on the ground as the turkey's heavy blows weakened it. The turkey didn't hold back one bit, and soon the falcon was left motionless, a rare sight of a falcon ending up as the prey. Keen-eyed and lightning fast, this falcon dove from the sky, its wings spread wide as it locked onto the guinea hen below. It seemed like a sure thing, but the guinea hen wasn't one to be caught off guard. It kept running and running, its legs moving fast as it zigzagged to avoid the fast-approaching predator. Every turn was a gamble, and it was working. Barely, but it was working. The falcon kept trying to close the gap, but every time it got close, the guinea hen was already gone, twisting just out of reach. You see, they may rule the skies, but when a falcon has to meet their opponent on land, they always end up getting humiliated. Maybe train those legs before you go chasing after other creatures on land next time, buddy. Despite how fast hawks are, their speed doesn't always guarantee victory. In this battle, the jackdaw appeared like it was going to lose at first. The hawk had grabbed it with its sharp talons and held on tight, but the jackdaw never stopped struggling. It started pecking at the hawk with its beak violently, trying to force it to let go. But the hawk held on even tighter, refusing to let go. The two birds fought with everything that they had, and the jackdaw ended up controlling the fight completely. And it was now the one holding onto the hawk to keep it from escaping. The hawk couldn't stand the non-stop attacks, and finally, it was able to break free and fly away, losing its pride, but keeping its life. It's always an amazing sight when the underdog ends up dominating the aggressor. This crow meant business. It spotted 3 small hawk chicks in their nest and landed, eager to take revenge. Without a second thought, it grabbed one chick by the neck, pressuring it with its beak and ignoring the chick's desperate fight to get free. The little hawk kicked and squirmed, but the crow's grip was unbreakable. When the chick finally tired out, the crow let go long enough to turn to its next target. It went for the second chick, catching it with the same deadly grip. The crow wasn't playing around. It had a mission, and nothing was going to stop it. It wanted to take revenge for its own chicks that the hawk had killed. Crows are super clever creatures, but this one was more cruel than clever. It flew right into an eagle's nest and went straight for its egg. It poked at the egg as if it had some kind of grudge to settle. The crow kept looking around nervously, knowing full well that if the eagle mom showed up, a bloody battle would ensue. It was a risky move, but the crow probably wanted to eliminate its future predators while they were still young. One small chick was present in the nest, and it had no idea what was going on. It was probably wondering why the crow hadn't attacked it yet, until it did. The crow suddenly shifted its attention to the little one, and with one quick move, it grabbed it in its beak and flew away with it. It was done destroying the eggs, and it was now time to devour the chick, making sure no survivors were left. What happened here was absolutely shocking. A hawk and its little one were sitting in their nest when a crow decided to attack them. But instead of the hawk trying to defend its home, it abandoned its chick and flew away like an absolute coward. The crow then raided the nest and poured its fury on the unfortunate little one, as it had no one to defend it and was, of course, completely helpless. The crow was exceptionally cruel to the poor chick, but nothing could match the cruelty of its parent abandoning it in its moment of need. When this one-legged eagle squared off with a scrappy crow, things got messy pretty fast. They fought tooth and nail like two feathered gladiators going all out. Eventually, both were gasping for air, so they took a breather. But it didn't last. Just as things calmed down, they jumped right back into it, feathers flying again as if they'd forgotten that they were exhausted. It was a fight that seemed to run on sheer stubbornness. Neither bird wanted to give in, even though, let's face it, nobody was winning at that point. The crow and the eagle kept going until they ran out of steam again, ending the match with nothing but ruffled pride and sore wings. Witnessed by several onlookers, This falcon was found lying on the ground with a snake tightly coiled around it. The falcon was taking its last breaths, twitching weakly as the snake constricted around its neck, ultimately suffocating the bird. Strangely, the snake showed no intention of consuming the falcon. It appeared that the snake acted purely in self-defense after being attacked. People nearby tried to rescue the falcon from its grim fate. Unfortunately, they had arrived too late. The bird was already dead or mere moments away from death. This is what you get when you get into a confrontation without adequate preparation or a clear understanding of one's own abilities. The falcon's miscalculation led to a fatal outcome, emphasizing the importance of assessing risks and planning carefully before entering any conflict. Attacking a bull snake wasn't this hawk's wisest decision. The once powerful bird was discovered strangled by its much smaller opponent, lying paralyzed in the snake's grip. Bull snakes don't typically prey on hawks, but this one fought back with surprising strength, wrapping tightly around the hawk until it stopped breathing. Now, with the hawk's body still held in its coils, the bull snake seemed almost ready to claim its unlikely meal. I have no idea how it was going to swallow prey so much bigger than itself, but snakes always seem to find a way. Caught in the death grip of a powerful snake, this hawk's chances at survival weren't looking great. The scene was tense. The snake had coiled itself around the hawk's body, tightening inch by inch, but it was around the hawk's neck that the grip was most crushing. With each pulse, the snake squeezed harder, making it nearly impossible for the hawk to draw in even a shred of air. The hawk was now in a desperate state, its beak hanging open, gasping, while its wide, terrified eyes darted around as if pleading for a miracle. But the snake never stopped, its muscular coils constricting further with every passing second, showing absolutely no mercy. The hawk's wings, once symbols of freedom, were now completely immobilized, trapped in a vice-like grip. Defeated, with hope slipping away as its breath grew fainter under the snake's tightening embrace, the hawk knew that its time had come. In a complete reversal of roles, this snake had wrapped itself around a hawk, a bird that usually hunts it. The hawk was now the one struggling in pain, but it was completely stuck. A nearby man couldn't stand idly by as the hawk's agony filled the air. Moved by the hawk's cries, he decided to step in, with another man quickly joining him in his rescue mission. It was clear that the snake was only trying to defend itself, and once the man realized that, and seeing the hawk stuck like that, he knew that the snake wasn't going to mind the hawk going free as long as it wasn't going to pose a threat to it. His intervention was swift. He carefully began to free the hawk from the snake's crushing hold, offering it a second chance to recover and live, and both animals got to go home unharmed. This clip shows a really intense moment between a snake and a hawk. The snake quickly grabbed the hawk by the neck after it found itself trapped under its talons. The hawk was a young one, and it had a lot to learn. If the hawk had taken the necessary precautions, this story would have ended much differently. The snake wouldn't have stood a chance. You could clearly see the terror in the hawk's eyes once it realized the fatal mistake that it had made. A terror that was soon mixed with a look of desperation as it tried to fight back. The hawk wasn't gonna last long, and it knew it. You know that saying, don't mess with what you can't handle? Well, this hawk found that out the hard way. It tried to take on a snake, and things went south real fast. The hawk probably went after the snake first, thinking it had the upper hand. But the snake had other plans. It wrapped itself around the hawk's neck and legs, like it was giving it a firm handshake. Except this one was deadly. The hawk most likely didn't make it out of this one, and the snake wasn't even a very big one. So yeah, the hawk was the one to start the fight, but the snake more than ended it. So here's a wild one. This snake had captured a rabbit and it was coiling it up without delay, but just when it thought that it was in the clear, a hawk swooped in. But instead of attacking, the hawk decided to chill and watch. probably too scared to intervene. The poor rabbit could barely move, its back legs numb after being wrapped up in that tight grip. But the hawk did affect the course of the battle when it landed. It made the snake nervous, and the cold-blooded reptile ended up releasing the rabbit and slithering away. It probably did so because it wanted to deal with the hawk if it tried anything, but the hawk was too much of a chicken to challenge the snake. Take a look at this one. This hawk tried to attack an owl's nest, but it ended up trapped between two furious owls and got very close to losing its life inside their coop. The owls were more curious than aggressive at first, but they soon started attacking the hawk pretty violently. The hawk looked pretty funny trapped between the angry couple, but there was nothing funny about what the owls did to it next. They both launched an attack that the hawk couldn't defend against, and before too long, all the hawk wanted was to get out of there in one piece. The hawk was completely panicking as the two birds unleashed their fury, and it looked like a scene straight out of a mob movie as they were both kicking it with their talons. Hawks are not the only birds that will try to raid other birds' nests. In fact, they get raided by other birds quite often. In this clip, an owl was filmed swooping in and catching a couple of hawks off guard in the middle of the night, quickly grabbing one of them in its talons before flying away with it to eat. The other hawk was completely paralyzed with fear, and it was still trying to comprehend what had just happened as the owl flew further away with its friend. It was probably more glad that it wasn't the target than it was sorry for its friend getting snatched away like that, which is why it didn't try to go after the owl to try to rescue its friend. An owl found itself in dire trouble when a hawk attacked here, and its desperate cries filled the atmosphere. A man and his dog rushed over to help as the owl screamed for rescue, sounding almost human in its terror. I had no idea owls could scream like that, but fear brings out surprising reactions in any creature. Thankfully, the man managed to intervene, freeing the terrified owl from its attacker and giving it another chance at life. I'm not sure who started the fight here, but the hawk was definitely losing it. It was getting absolutely destroyed by an owl that didn't seem too friendly. The owl had it pinned down and was in total control standing over it. Didn't look like there was much that the hawk could do, and it didn't look like the hawk was interested in doing more than getting away from the crazy owl either. It was probably gonna get brutalized to death by the angry bird, and it probably deserved it, because I don't think the owl was the one who attacked first. Here's another overly confident hawk that thought that it could raid an owl's nest and get away with it. It saw the owl there and still dove down, probably counting on the owl escaping and letting it have its way with the nest. Spoiler alert, that wasn't what happened at all. The owl stood its ground and met the hawk eye to eye. The hawk seemed like it wasn't sure what to do next. Things clearly hadn't gone the way that it hoped, and it was now stuck having to actually fight the owl. And worst of all, it was having to fight it on solid ground, not in the air, which is any hawk's nightmare, as we've seen. Owls are the unexpected tough guys of the bird world. In this video, we see one get a little too aggressive when a hawk decides to drop by its nest. The hawk must have thought it could just waltz in, but the owl turned out to be the real predator. As soon as it saw the intruder, the owl grabbed the hawk with its sharp talons. The hawk tried to escape, but the owl had no plans of letting go. It was like walking into an evil witch's house, and it was now planning on how to eat the intruder. After a wild struggle, the hawk finally managed to break free and take off. That's one lesson learned: never mess with an owl's home. Here we have a fearless bald eagle that was forced into battle when a red-tailed hawk decided to raid its nest. The hawk, maybe desperate for food, misjudged the situation, thinking that it could swoop in and make a quick grab. But the eagle, guarding its territory fiercely, wasn't about to let this invasion slide. In a storm of powerful wings and razor-sharp talons, the eagle struck back, delivering swift and merciless blows. The hawk, caught off guard by the eagle's speed and ferocity, was soon pinned down. The eagle stood over its defeated rival, as if contemplating its next move, whether to teach the hawk a permanent lesson or let it limp away, a warning to all others. What do you guys think it should have done? Mistakenly thinking that it had the upper hand, this hawk made a risky move on an eagle's nest, hoping to catch the eagle off guard. But the eagle responded with an intensity that only a parent defending its young could muster. With swift, calculated strikes, the eagle went from a mere defender to a merciless force, attacking the hawk with everything that it had. Feathers flew as the eagle's talons and beak delivered crushing blows, showing no mercy to the intruder. By the end of the encounter, the hawk's misjudgment cost it everything, ending up as an unfortunate meal rather than a victorious raider. Eagles are another heavy hitter of the animal world, and these two discovered a hawk's nest while flying by and decided to go down and eliminate whatever was inside. Unfortunately, a helpless chick was in there, and the eagles didn't waste a second before attacking it. Nothing says awkward family moment like a parent eagle bringing a baby hawk home for lunch and then suddenly deciding, hey, maybe I'll just adopt it. In this clip, we watch the eagle swoop in with the young hawk in its beak, intending it to be a meal for its own chicks. But then, somewhere along the line, the eagle's dinner plan went sideways. Instead of serving up the hawk to its hungry babies, the eagle did a complete 180 and decided to keep it as one of the family. From that point on, the hawk went from being the meal to joining the nest, blending into the eagle crew. All that this falcon could muster the courage to do was a hit-and-run job against a much larger eagle that was soaring right below it. It had neither the guts nor the strength to face the eagle and take it head-on, so it resorted to these dirty tactics, hoping to catch it off guard and take it down with a single blow. The falcon's plan backfired, of course, and it was now having to run for its life before the eagle could catch it and teach it a lesson. Lucky for the falcon, though, they're among the fastest creatures on our planet, and there was no way the eagle was going to catch up to it. Out of nowhere, this deer rushed onto the scene when it heard the cries of a rabbit being attacked by a hawk. Without hesitation, the deer started stomping on the hawk with its powerful hooves, driving the predator away from its helpless prey. Was the deer acting out of instinct, mistaking the rabbit's cries for those of its own offspring? Or was it a rare act of compassion, stepping in to rescue the rabbit? The reasons behind this unexpected behavior remain a mystery, but one thing's for sure, the hawk didn't live long enough to find out. A tense standoff unfolded as a hawk found itself cornered by a bobcat here, its razor-sharp instincts matched by the predator's calculated patience. The hawk, pinned and petrified, was frozen in fear, its wings tucked tightly as the bobcat circled, gauging the perfect moment to strike. Every movement was a gamble. The hawk knew that the slightest attempt to escape would trigger the bobcat's deadly reflexes, and for what felt like an eternity, the hawk clung to hope, its eyes darting for a miracle that never came. Here, a man peered out his window and saw a hawk perched on a tree branch, feasting on what appeared to be another dead bird. The hawk was so engrossed in its meal that it didn't notice a cat that was slowly climbing the tree behind it, curious about what the bird was eating. The cat didn't seem at all interested in hunting the hawk, but if it had been, the hawk would have ended up becoming its dinner, no doubt, as the cat was too sneaky for the hungry bird to notice it coming. Here's a hawk that couldn't even secure a pigeon for dinner. It should have just stayed up there and not have swooped down and embarrassed itself. The pigeon was barely fighting, but the hawk was so bad at what it was doing that it couldn't even hold it down for a few seconds. In the end, the pigeon simply walked off, as if getting away from a clingy toddler, not a fearsome predator. Pathetic. This peaceful farm scene took a wild turn when a hawk swooped in like the ultimate party crasher, targeting a hen and gripping it in its talons. Chaos erupted as feathers flew and the hens scattered, but one determined rooster charged in to defend its partner. Just when it seemed like the hawk had the upper hand, the farm's unlikely hero stepped in. A goat! With a perfectly timed headbutt, the goat sent the hawk packing, proving that no one messes with its feathered friends on its watch. Only a hawk could turn a garden hangout into a full-on action scene. This hawk, with eagle eyes and questionable judgment, spotted a little dog happily playing in the grass. From way up high, it thought perfect lunch and started its dramatic dive. Wings tucked, claws out, ready for a heroic snack-stealing swoop. But as it got closer, reality kicked in. This wasn't a mouse or a bunny, it was a dog. 5 feet from impact, the hawk's brave plan turned into panic as it realized its prey had a little too much bark for a quick grab and go. With a loud flap and zero shame, the hawk bailed, soaring away, leaving the clueless dog to keep playing like nothing had happened. This hawk had eyes like a detective, spotting everything from miles up. It noticed a dog zooming around in the garden, just minding its own business and probably chasing nothing. The hawk, thinking it had a nice meal in sight, swooped down, wings spread wide, looking ready for a quick grab-and-go snack. But as it got close, it realized that the dog was way bigger than it expected. So the hawk did a smooth turnaround, gliding back up into the sky like it never even saw the dog. Maybe it hoped nobody noticed that awkward retreat. Meanwhile, the dog just kept running around, probably having no clue that it was on the hawk's menu for a split second. No nonsense, this hawk was all claws and beak, swooping in fast to grab a meal. But didn't expect a rabbit with a serious fight in it. The rabbit leapt up as if it had been waiting for this showdown. The hawk tried to get a grip, diving and aiming with all its sharp moves. But every time it got close, the rabbit pulled off another jump or twist, like it had been training for this moment. You'd think a hawk would always win against a rabbit, right? But this bunny had different plans. It wasn't giving up, not by a long shot. That hawk was fighting for its dinner, but the rabbit, it was out there fighting to live, showing everyone that it had some serious spirit. Here's a grounded hawk that found itself in the worst possible predicament, surrounded by a group of young lion cubs eager to hone their hunting skills. Normally a formidable predator of the skies, the hawk's wings were useless here, and it stood no chance against the sheer number of cubs closing in. The hawk endured countless swipes, bites, and pounces from the inexperienced yet determined cubs. Despite its desperate attempts to escape or call for aid, the hawk was overpowered, becoming a victim of these eager learners of the wild. A tragic end for the hawk, but a valuable lesson for the future kings of the savannah. Did you enjoy this video? Please let us know in the comments section down below. And don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. And please, turn on your notifications bell to get notified when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.